organically by having friends introduce me to wines, open bottles for me, and the more I drank, the more I liked. And as someone who graduated with a software development degree, I'm a geek. So wine can be a geeky thing because there's tens of thousands of different bottles. It changes every year. There's stories behind each bottle, and like a big sports fan, you can become a big wine geek fan because there's so much to know. There's so many different players, and it's very dynamic. So as I continued my career in software development, I had this little germinating idea. Wouldn't it be great to introduce other people to wines just like they were introduced to me? Not in a stuffy environment, but in a place where you can try wines and discover what you like. So the idea of a wine bar where we really focused on allowing people to try a lot of wines, I just couldn't escape from it. Even though I had a regular day job, and I still have a regular day job, I'd always get to at some point where I had to try something on my own. Years ago, I tried to create actually I did, I wrote some software that would help keyboard musicians be able to manage the various sounds that a keyboard can make, because my wife was in a band at the time and she had that problem, so I used my skills to try to solve the problem. And anytime I do that, well, maybe someone else would want that. So yeah, I guess I have this latent entrepreneurial drive, in the back of my head that sometimes bursts forward into the foreground, and something like this happens. I did this because, as I mentioned earlier, I just love wine. It became more and more of a passion for me. We started out with a small email list, so I immediately started using one of the campaign systems on the web, like Constant Contact. I actually use iContact right now, and that allows you to easily integrate on a website a sign-up form, an opt-out mechanism for people who want to stop receiving emails, and data about how many emails were opened, what people clicked on, and how over time, how long it takes someone to open an email. And there's a lot of information that helps you improve the emails you send out. I'm a firm believer in not sending out a lot of emails. We rarely send out more than one a week because there's so much information flooding in through people's various communications, forms of communication. I don't want to be overwhelming. I don't only want to send an email when I have something, hopefully, that's interesting to my audience. So I try to keep email to a minimum, but consistent. And then about a year ago, started experimenting with Facebook. Obviously, Twitter was starting to get some recognition. Facebook had been around for a while. I hadn't been a personal Facebook user, but I created my own Facebook account and immediately started connecting to friends that I hadn't spoken to in many years, decades even. I was amazed at the reach of Facebook, so I thought it was a natural way to connect to my customers here at the Wine Lab. And so I use that very sparingly too. I don't want to, from my philosophy, I don't want to overtly sell things like, 20% off wine today. I think that would be annoying to people because Facebook's a very social environment, and I want it to be fun, and I want it to be more like a person speaking to them rather than a business. I think so. I've had people come in and say, hey, I heard you have such and such event tonight, so they come in, and I think that it allows us to have a little bit of mind share, just stay in contact with our extended customer base. I think we have over 1,000 friends right now on Facebook, and it's grown organically, slowly, and continuously. Well, the economy makes a business like this difficult, especially when everything you're offering isn't a necessity. The psychology is tough out there, and people are cutting back, and the new frugality has settled in. So the good side of that is that it has accelerated my learning of how a business like this needs to run to be successful. Wine is actually a pretty low margin retail item, so mistakes can be costly. You can't cut wine more than 25% before you're losing money on it. Unlike clothing, where you can discount it 50, 60% and before they are breaking even. So it's hard to put it on sale, and when you do put it on sale, people think, well, what's wrong with it? So I drink a lot of my mistakes, take it home, and fortunately we have a pretty active bar here, and it allows us to pour a lot of wines, and the experience is presented to our customers such that, gee, if you don't like something, that's okay. It's worthwhile to try wine that you don't like, so that you at least are trying to expand your palate, expand your experience, and decide whether you like something or not. Just anticipate it's going to be harder than you imagined, but that what you learn trying something that you've never done before is really what life is all about, I think. And there are things that I am learning every month, even though we're about 20 months into this experiment, and I'm still learning how to do the basics. I'm still learning how to do the basics better, and one of the nice things about this learning curve is that it's in the wine industry, and I just had about 6 vendors come in for a total of at least 30 or 40 wines for me. And that gets back to what I really love as an individual, being able to taste a lot of wines. I'm able to do things I love every day. There's a lot of work involved, but it's important to make sure you're doing something that you love if you're being an entrepreneur, because it's going to take a lot of energy. Drink as much, I should say taste as much wine as possible. Nothing wrong with drinking, but go to as many tasting events as possible. The Orange County Wine Society have 2 a year. We mentioned that earlier. We were chatting, but there are lots of tasting events. Look for a small wine shop in your area that has active tasting programs. Give patronage to that small shop that is near you, because someplace near you is a place you're going to visit frequently. You'll get to know them, they'll get to know you, and they'll get to know your palate and what you like, and you'll be able to trust them. And that's a lot better than going to the grocery store and playing Russian roulette, trying to pick a bottle on the shelf. You'll get better wine, and it'll be better value wine, because it was pretty carefully selected, and the people at the wine shop will know what you like. Just, you need to do it. There are a lot of businesses that are hesitant. I do it in my spare time. I enjoy it because I am interacting with my customers in a different medium, and you get a better sense of who your customers are, and your and the community that is building around your business. So it's part of relationship building, and fundamentally business is about relationship building. So social media should be a natural extension to any new business at this point.